everybody. Welcome to the PVD Horror Podcast. My name is Dave. I'm joined here with my co host, Brandon, and we are here to bring you a special Fangoria 2024 Chainsaw Award episode. So, Brandon, can you tell the people a little bit about the Fangoria Chainsaw Awards?
So basically, the Fangoria Chainsaw Awards has been going on for a pretty long time. I've been actually looking up a bunch of older like clips and stuff and seeing like, you know, films probably like around when like Evil Dead was getting nominated and stuff like
Oh,
that. So,
shoot.
you
It's
know, I
quite a
mean,
long time ago.
seeing everybody having a good time. And so kind of talking about before how we would like to see a live audience. I think they had that back then, so it was pretty cool. So, but yeah, Fangoria Chainsaw Awards is something special because it gives all horror fans like us and everybody else that's into horror and around the world an opportunity to cast their votes on some of their favorite films that they've seen over the years. So I
Yeah.
think we have a lot of good categories and a lot of film selections. So it's definitely a good time.
Yeah. So if you didn't vote yet, unfortunately, you did miss the
Mhm.
closing of the voting. So that was July 20th. And the show itself is going to air at some point in October on Shudder. So that's always a great time for that. And we get to reflect on all the films that we watched this year. It felt like they extended the amount of time before we were voting. I
Mm.
think we were voting last, it felt like right before
Yeah, a little
the
bit before.
yeah, so they extended it almost like 6 months, it feels like, maybe half a year to add more films, maybe.
Yeah, I think, and also to get, more people into it, to getting the voting, the process a little bit easier, getting it out
Yeah,
there. It's summertime, you know what I mean? So it's like we're still in the cinemas right now. A lot of good horror films are dropping, so
I
it's a
know.
good time.
I know. Yeah, it was a little weird voting for some of these films
Mm.
because I saw them just very recently, and then there's some on this list that feel like they were ages ago. So it's a pretty wild variety of films. The other thing about this is there's a new category this year, which they were very excited about. I unfortunately have had little knowledge of most of the things in this category, but Brandon, you had a little bit more. It's the video game category.
Oh yeah, definitely. Uh, I think you dabbled in a
I
few of the games.
dabbled with one actually, and then
Okay.
I was just about to dabble in another one. We'll get to that category in a little bit, but yeah, I didn't have much time to do that this year. But I think that's a great idea
hmm
because that's been like a big thing this past year is like the video game scene, right?
Yeah, it's definitely, and it incorporates a lot of horror fans, definitely for myself, because, growing up at a young age, like Resident Evil, was
Oh
a
yeah.
big game that, definitely pushed me into horror a little bit more because I just enjoyed being, terrified by playing that game.
Yeah, Manhunt. I mean, there's so many like
Yeah.
classic horror games. So I think that was a great idea for them to do that. And
hmm
then at the end, there's an open slot category, which is best kill. So we'll share our thoughts about the best kill. And you know what? I would love if people listen to this episode, if they would message or comment on the episode and let us know your favorite kills of the year. Because actually, we were just talking about this off air. That's a really hard thing to think of, like
Yeah.
just on the fly, like going through all these films. What was my favorite kill?
Yeah, that's definitely hard being put on the spot for that
Mm-hmm.
because it's like you said, it's an open choice, and you don't have that multiple choice, or something just right in front of you, that visual of saying, "Oh yeah, that was a good kill," because it's hard because you might miss one.
Oh yeah. Oh, I feel like I definitely overlooked a ton trying to think of one, but I was
Mm,
satisfied with the one I came up with.
yeah.
But let's get this rolling. So the first category is achievement in nonfiction.
Mm,
So Brandon, I'll go over the entries in this one. We got Amityville and Origin Story, which was on MGM Plus or from MGM Plus. The Boulet Brothers Dracula season 5. We got the Enfield Poltergeist. We got the Last Drive-In with Joe Bob Briggs, and we got Sven Gulli.
mm.
So lots of great options here.
Yeah, definitely, because that's the thing, looking at the options that they have here, they're all great. Amityville Horror, like you said, it's streaming on MGM Plus. So if you have not seen that yet, definitely go check it out. It's a great documentary about one of the greatest, horror films, I mean, that was ever made. So it kind of gives you some of that backstory of everything. So definitely check that out. The Boulay brothers, they've been killing it, season
Yeah.
5 already, so that's also on Shutter. So definitely check them out because it's just, great for horror, even if you're not into that type of stuff, give it a chance. I think, what I mean, because it's definitely worth it. It's really creative. It's pretty cool. So
It's like RuPaul's Drag Race meets Face Off, right?
yeah, and a lot of, little skits and stuff like
Yeah.
that too. So it's fun.
Yeah. So I have a hard time not picking the legendary The Last Drive-In with Joe Bob Briggs.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, Svengoolie's great. Love Svengoolie.
Yeah.
Awesome host. But I would have a really hard time not picking Joe Bob. It's one of those things that when Joe Bob season is around, you kind of plan your night for it. You
Mm.
hope he's going to play something that either you loved or you haven't seen. And yeah, it's a whole thing, right?
Yeah, definitely. Even though I think sometimes we have to watch it on repeat because
Yeah.
sometimes Joe Bob loves to, have his shows on the nights that we have screenings, so
Yeah.
so
Frequently.
yeah.
Especially his like holiday ones, they always
All the
land on
time.
ours. Yeah. But
Yep.
yeah, I don't know. I just love when the Joe Bob season is airing and it's yeah, Fridays just have a different feel.
Yeah. So just like you said, I have to go with Joe Bob because like I said, oh, look at this Monster Vision on the
There you
hat.
go.
You know what I mean?
There you
So
go.
Joe Bob definitely was one of the main, people when I was younger
Mhm.
that got me into horror also, because I would watch the Monster Vision, on TNT with my grandmother at night. So I just
Yeah.
loved that he was back and, we're already on the kick of having all these seasons locked in. So it's shit, let's keep it going. The drive-in never dies.
Right. And I will also say this about it. I think that this season they're doing things a little differently. They're going
Yeah.
bi-weekly. They're
Hmm.
doing one film. I kind of like that. I'm sure there's probably some people that love the double feature, but I never made it in the second film. Just couldn't do it. So having just one film feels great. It's even better if it's a film you really want to watch. But yeah, I think they're doing a good job of kind of keeping things fresh and adding different things here and there.
Yeah,
Um,
exactly.
and I
We
also
should.
will say I got a little gripe with my cable company because I don't get Svengoolie anymore.
Oh no.
Nope.
Yeah, it comes on
They
a Comet.
it was on my TV before, and that station's gone. And
Hmm.
I don't know if I have Comet, but I have not been able to find Svengoolie anymore. So
Okay.
bring it back.
Get Stan Woolley streaming.
Um, all right, I'll do the next one too. All right.
All
We got
right.
best cinematography. Now, this is a interesting category. So we got The First Omen by
Yep.
Aaron Morton. All the TV Glow is Eric Ku. In a Violent Nature is Pierce Dirks. Infinity Pool, Kareem Hussein, and Poor Things by Robbie Ryan. Um, Now, just for anyone listening, this is best cinematography, not saying best film.
Yeah.
It's just a feel. It's a vibe. It's all these things, right?
This is definitely hard
It was
because
until I thought about it more, but I would love to hear your opinion.
it's hard because you had the first Omen. Certain cities it had a release of 35 millimeter.
Yeah,
I wasn't able to see it
right.
because we didn't get it down this way. But if I was able to see it that way, I think that would have been like a clear cut. You know what I mean? For
Mm-hmm.
me, I saw the TV glow was definitely also, shot very well. And the
Yep.
violent nature, it's a little different, different vibe to it.
Mm-hmm.
People have their own feelings about that.
Yeah,
Infinity Pool, it had that kind of like gritty look to it. But overall, Poor Things, man, that film itself, like just the way it was shot and I enjoyed how that was shot. So for me I went with Poor Things
great,
because just
great
the
choice.
just the
Yeah.
the travel of everything because the film starts off black and white
Mm-hmm.
and then it crosses over into color. I think it was done very well. So for me it was out of Poor Things or like the first Omen, but I'm gonna go with Poor Things, man.
Okay. Yeah. And I think they did a good job of selecting the right films for this category because each of these films is done shot really well, has a different aesthetic to it. I am going to go with The First Omen.
Yep.
I was thinking about it. I was like, I really liked how you could watch that film. I literally like you wouldn't know if it was a modern film or if it was a 70s film. I felt like
Yeah,
you
at
get
times.
lost in it. They did a really good job of giving it that feel to connect it to that original film. So I just felt like for that reason, I'm going to go with that choice. But you really can't go wrong with any of these films.
No, not at all.
All shot well.
Yeah, and that's the thing. That's what I was saying. It's just hard, but I like First Omen, like you said, shot it was shot
Yeah,
great. I would love to see it in 35 millimeter because
yeah,
that trailer alone, when that released, I was just like, fuck.
yeah.
Like I want to see it this way. And hopefully when we get a physical release, we get it, shot in that style like a little bit, make it look a little gritty, a little bit more like the old school style.
Yeah, that would be cool.
I think,
Also, in a violent nature, the more and more I think about it, like it's all cinematography, like
yeah.
that film. So, like, shout out to that film for sure. Still gonna stick with my pick, but like that one was a strong candidate as far as the way it's shot and how influential that is on the film overall.
Yeah, definitely. All right. So next we're gonna go into the best costume design. So this was another, cool category with a
Hmm.
with a list of great films. So first they started off, we have The First Omen, we have Immaculate, Late Night with the Devil, Lisa Frankenstein, and Poor Things.
Yeah.
Um, I feel as though that for me, well, let's hear what you have to say first because
Oh yeah.
yeah, I brought it up. So like
Okay.
we'll let you run first
All
with it.
right. This is probably not going to be the most popular pick.
Hmm.
I'm going with Late Night with the Devil. I
Yeah.
loved the 70s feel. Like 70s is definitely very popular right now, like that whole
Yeah.
aesthetic in that era. But I think they nailed the costumes, just everything, everything about it. I loved that aesthetic in that film, and yeah, I just thought they did a great job with that.
Yeah. I would have to agree with you too, because just looking at it, you have the first Omen, Immaculate. It's kind of the same vibe. You like, the same
Yeah, yeah,
costume. We've seen a lot of these Exorcist films the last
yep,
few years, and so it's like, all right, um, let's see something different. And I
yeah.
feel as though, Late Night with the Devil definitely brought that. Lisa Frankenstein, it was cool. It was like a little modern, little goth type
Hmm.
flick. But I just think that it was just, just regular. But I think that when you go into it, Poor Things and Late Night with the Devil are like, two films that just had to like dig in deep to kind of like roll with the, with the writing of the stories.
Yeah.
And I feel Late Night with the Devil definitely.
It's those two films are all style, right? They're all very
Yeah.
stylized, and
Yep.
like that plays such a big part of the film. The first Omen did have like that whole nightclub scene,
Yeah.
which also like had that 70s feel to it. But yeah, the Late Night with the Devil, I feel like they just nailed everything about it. I know this has nothing to do with like this category doesn't have to do with set design, but even
Mhm.
that stuff, like everything about it just was so on point with what the theme they were going for. So
Yeah, and there's no right or wrong answer on any of these categories. I mean, because it's how you feel about it, like how you
yeah.
view the film. So, I don't want anybody going, "Oh, well, what are you guys talking about? This one is better than that." Like,
No, we someone's got to do it to us though. Every year someone's got to do it.
no,
So
and I understand, I
who
get
will
it,
it be?
but let it be about how you view the film.
Yeah. Yeah. For sure.
All right. So the next category was best creature effects. So it was Evil Dead Rise, and we have Five Nights at Freddy's. Five Nights at Freddy's was actually created by the Jim Henson's Creature Shop.
How cool is
That's
that?
that's big.
Yeah.
Um, Infested, The Last Voyage of Demeter,
There
how
you
we
go.
go?
You got it. I think
Yeah,
that's
we
it.
go. Yeah, all right. And Megan.
Okay.
So
This was a tough one.
it was because I don't know. I think wasn't The Last Voyage kind of CGI like pushed heavy a little bit?
So yeah, I avoided that one
Yeah.
for that kind of reason. I went with Evil Dead Rise,
Yeah.
and this was a tough one, to be honest with you. Like, because they're all to me, they're all pretty comparable.
Hmm.
I chose Evil Dead Rise. If you ask my reasoning, I don't have like a super solid reasoning. Just that one felt. I was just going back in my head. I'm thinking of all the the creepy ass scenes and all that stuff, and
Hmm.
how they made them look when they were possessed or whatever they are, demonized.
Yep.
And yeah, it was super effective, I guess would be
Yeah.
my.
I think I agree with you because, just the transformation of the mother, you know what I mean? And
Yeah,
you just everyone, that kind of just went through those changes and the stages where it was just like seeing them become undead. And so it was a fun ride. It was a good movie. Five Nights at Freddy's for me, it was just like, it wasn't something that was new to see. It was like based off a video game, so it was just created into, real
it wasn't
life,
like
like a suit.
original
Yeah.
ideas. Yeah, yeah,
So, you know what I mean? And Infested, you know, I think that was a great film too, but the creatures were kind of just like whatever. Like I said, The
yeah,
Last Voyage, kind of CGI-ish, and Megan, we've all seen killer dolls, you know what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah,
So it's
yeah.
kind of like,
It
um,
was cool, but yeah, it didn't have that thing to make it be able to edge out Evil Dead
yeah.
Rise. Got it. All right. Best director. We got Brandon Cronenberg for Infinity Pool. We got Lee Cronin for Evil Dead Rise. Danny and Michael Filippo for Talk to Me. Demian Rugna for When Evil Lurks.
Mm,
And Arkasha Stevenson for The First Omen.
all
Very tough
right.
category.
Oh, definitely tough. But for
What are
me,
you thinking? Yeah.
like you said, this is definitely tough. Brandon Cronenberg definitely killed it with Infinity Pool. Evil Dead Rise. Evil Lurks was definitely a slept on film, man. Like I still to this day, it kind of like
Absolutely.
I I still can't believe like we missed to see this in theaters.
I know. I
That
know.
opportunity, just
Yep.
I can't believe it. And The First Omen, but for me, best directors, I'm gonna have to go with Talk to Me because
Okay.
just off of these two brothers, their story of where they came from and how the opportunity came for them, it's just a little bit different from everyone else. You know what I mean? So I think that
Mhm.
when you have that backstory and how you had this big film created out of, just money that you put into it and kind of got it going. It's just there's just a whole different background. And then I don't take anything away from anybody else, but that's just the way I see this film.
Sure.
So,
Um, yeah, I this was probably one of the tighter categories.
hmm.
Each of these films it was enjoyable, was probably like in my top tier of films for the year or last year. I actually went with The First Omen.
Yep.
So Akasha Stevenson. I love The First Omen. I really, really enjoyed it. I just thought that she did such a great job with the direction it went, all that stuff. Um, yeah, I left there feeling like, wow, this film blew me away. It was way beyond my expectations of it. I went in there kind of semi excited, but like not really knowing to expect. And I thought she did such a great job. But yeah, Talk to Me was great. When Evil Lurks blew me away as well. Evil Dead Rise was a ton of fun, and Infinity Pool was a crazy ass movie that I also enjoyed. So really tough category, but yeah,
Yeah. So you can't, like I said, you can't go wrong with anything.
no,
But I
absolutely
also
not.
wanted to, I also wanted to kind of like throw a little like films in the mix and kind of like give it to them because like I didn't want to go with the same films over and over
Well, I
because
think Talk to Me was like one of your top films last year.
yeah, it definitely
If not
was.
was it your top film?
Yeah, it was one of my top films.
Yeah.
Just off the creativity of everything and like how it
Hmm.
all came together, I mean, I thought that
Yeah,
that's just a great story for horror and,
for sure.
overall. So,
Yep. All right. Best documentary feature. So we got Dario Argento Panico. We got The Legacy of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Satan Wants You, Shark Exploitation, and We Kill for Love.
all
Tough
right.
category. Not going to pretend I watched every documentary. I certainly did not. Um, but the Chainsaw Massacre, classic story. Love
Yep.
watching. I'll digest anything. That and Argento was you know, a great
Yeah.
one as well. I could pretty much eat up anything Giallo esque and anything Chainsaw Massacre esque. So
Yeah. Definitely. Argento's documentary definitely was my pick for this one because it was just, you go back, just doing this podcast and like, going into that realm of horror for us, it's just been like a great time. Like I said, during, lockdown and everything like that,
Yeah.
the Giallo films were definitely on heavy rotation for us, we were
Yeah.
getting into it. So, and just kind of going to like the movie screenings and stuff like that and just seeing it all play out with the music and everything that how they do films, so Argento is definitely my pick.
Yeah. Yeah, that's kind of true actually. I didn't think about that, but like spent a lot of time like exploring that genre during
Mm,
the when we had like so much downtime. So that's kind of true. I
yeah.
didn't think about that.
Yep. And the next category was best first feature. So we were able to check out a lot of these films from
Yes.
from the from the jump.
Yep.
So first we have The Angry Black Girl and Her Monster. And then second we have Birth/Rebirth. And it lives inside in Skinamarink and stop motion.
Yep.
I feel like a lot of these films, well, not a lot, but I want to say one, like Skinamarink, definitely, was one of the big talked about films in this
Yeah.
category that people either loved or hated,
Hmm.
and so I respect their decision. We all had that conversation
Yeah.
about that. So, what did you feel about this category?
Interesting category. When I was looking at the films, like, wow, they're kind of all over the place. And like you said, we got to check out a lot of these, but like, and that's actually the one that I ended up choosing
Yep,
was one that we got to actually, talk to, the director,
yep,
Mohammed J. Story, and the angry black girl and her monster. So I thought that was a really creative take on the Frankenstein story, and I think it showed a lot of potential for him as a filmmaker.
yeah. Yeah, definitely. That's what I had going when I went Bomani J Story's Diary of the Angry Black Girl and a Monster because, when like I said, when we talked with him, I think that when I had watched that film, it kind of took me back to like when I was a kid. And I think that that's the thing, like Skinamarink also did too. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? But for me, I think that the Angry Black Girl and a Monster definitely hit home a little bit more for me because it was like kind of things I was kind of like going through and kind of like had seen growing up
Yeah.
and also played out to create, a horror film, so I that was my choice.
I would love to see next year for the Chainsaw Awards to have a separate category for films like Skinamarink
Hmm.
and like either found footage or experimental films, because I think it's really hard to put a movie like Skinamarink in any category and give it like a fair shot because of its experimental nature. Because not everybody's going to understand it, not everybody's going to connect with it, so you're going to already pretty much have a guarantee that not everybody's going to pick it.
Yeah.
Um, so I think I would love to see that if Fangoria is paying attention, that'd be great.
All right. Next category is the best international movie. All right. So we have The Coffee Table and what's that?
Exuma
Exuma. And we got Infested and When Evil Lurks
and
and
Husera, the
Who's
Bone Woman.
Sarah, the Bone Woman.
Yeah.
Those are definitely top films that have
Yeah.
definitely released, and I had a good time with most of these.
Yeah.
So I want to know what was your favorite?
So there's no way that I could walk away from this category not saying When Evil Lurks. Like
Yeah,
When Evil Lurks was, I think, one of my, one of, if not my top film last year. I freaking loved it When Evil Lurks.
yeah.
But we're talking about some like really good competition here for that one.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah. And the coffee table I know is one that like people are really talking about right now. So I think that's one that like it's a more recent release.
Mm,
So I don't know if enough people are going to have seen it at this point in order to give it a fair shot at this category. But When Evil Lurks is top, top notch.
yeah, I definitely had to go with Evil Lurks as well. Even though Infested was a fucking crazy fucking ride,
Yeah.
we were able to check that out before it came out, and then just watching it when it like premiered on Shudder, I watched it again with my kids, and that was just like, what I mean, like it just creeped them out. And I think that it was kind of cool because it brought them into that world where like they had like the younger kids, had
Mhm.
all the sneakers and all that
Yeah,
stuff. And
yeah.
it was kind of relatable to the kids and the teenagers that's going on today. And so it was a fun ride, but I'm definitely going with When Evil Lurks because I'm still, like I said, I'm still upset I didn't see that in theaters. Bring it back again. Bring it
Yeah,
back.
we're still shook. Best lead performance. I was excited for this one. So we
Mm,
got Tobin Bell in Saw X. We got David Dastmalchian in Lost Late Night with the Devil.
yep.
Uh, Caitlin Dever in No One Will Save You. Nell Tiger Free in The First Omen. Catherine Newton in Lisa Frankenstein. Lupita Nyong'o in A Quiet Place Day One. So that's super recent.
Mm,
Emma Stone in Poor Things. Lily Sullivan in Evil Dead Rise. Sydney Sweeney in Immaculate. And Sophie Wilde in Talk to Me. This is
yeah.
all over the place.
Yep.
It's a
It's
wild ass category.
definitely.
Holy shit. Um, yeah, where do you even start, Brandon? I don't even know.
So for me, best lead performance, right?
Yeah.
And that's it's everybody's choice, you know what I mean? But for me, I had gone with Sophie from Talk to Me because
Oh,
just that whole backstory about that, about how the film actually lost some, sponsor money and everything like that because they went with the choice of a less known name.
really?
Yeah, so
So
they
did they
lost
have some bigger names in the
they
works that they didn't
they
choose?
wanted to push it, but
Yeah.
then the brothers were so strong on picking this girl,
Huh.
on picking Sophie. And so they were just like, all right, well, we can't do that
Yeah.
because we never seen her. And so I think that she's gonna definitely be, a big name going forward because she definitely did a great job. And that doesn't take anything away from anybody else. I think that everybody else in this category, is already kind of where they need to be. You know what I mean?
Sure.
And it was out of her and Sydney Sweeney because
Yeah.
Immaculate, we
Yeah.
talked about that,
Yeah.
but I'm gonna roll with Sophie.
This will probably be the only time Emma Stone doesn't win against any of these people.
And
Like,
that's fine. That's
which is
fine.
funny. Yeah, it's funny that there's like an award show that Emma Stone's not, her performance maybe wouldn't win. But maybe it will. Who knows?
It
But
might.
yeah, I went with Sydney Sweeney
Yeah.
because she carries Immaculate like on her
Yeah.
back. That film is Sydney Sweeney's like performance. Without her performance, that movie is nothing. If it's a different actress who doesn't put in um, the same level of intensity, that movie is not the same movie. And
Yeah.
I know there's plenty of people who are like mad because you can see her boobs or something like that. Or there's people that are like feel, I don't know, they have a way of like certain feeling about her as an actor or maybe her as a person, which, I don't know. She did great. I thought she did great.
Oh yeah,
That
definitely.
that performance was super powerful.
At the end of the day, I look at this category right here. It's definitely female driven. You know what I mean? So it's like that's a great thing for horror. That's a great thing for the
Yeah.
world. You know what I mean? And so it's like you can't go wrong with anyone that you pick in this category. So whoever you choose, I think
Yeah.
everybody did a great, they were all great films.
It's funny. Caitlin Dever's performance in No One Will Save You was great. And
Yeah.
she says zero words. Like
Yep.
she carries that whole performance without any words. And then you got like Lupita Nyong'o's performance was great in A
Yeah.
Quiet Place.
Hmm.
And that's obviously a very limited dialogue role. Nell Tiger Free was amazing. Yeah, it's just like everybody in this category is deserving. But yeah, I like our choices.
Yeah. So like I said, it's for me, it's kind of like the backstory of everything and kind of knowing like the ins and outs of things. Like we also said, Sydney, it was supposed to, I think that she had a lot of creative, you know, like
Pull in
thoughts
this
and
movie.
everything and
Yeah,
then
yeah, yeah.
pull that went into this film and the direction that it had gone. And we talked about it before. They wanted to kind of make it like at a setting in school, in high school, to kind of bring
Yeah.
her back to basically the euphoria lifestyle. Like, you know what I
Yeah,
mean? And
yeah.
so like I felt as though that she wouldn't had like, climbed a little bit more or got more recognition because that would have just set her back in that same block. Like, you know what I mean? Like people
It's
gonna look
funny
at her the
because
same way.
it's like twofold. Because maybe like had she done that, it would have maybe connected more with that crowd that loves her from Euphoria, and it would
Yeah.
have given her that. But she decided to separate it, which I think is a great choice artistically because it shows
Mm.
more range and things like that. So
All right. So the next category we have here is best limited release.
this is a
And
good one.
so this is definitely like a great,
Yeah.
you know, category right here and a good few selections. So we're gonna go with a Cobweb and was that Ennie's Men?
Innocent Men, I think.
Ennis Men, I can't see because that friggin' yeah, all right. Ennis Men and I saw the TV Glow, The Outwaters, and Suitable Flesh. What did you choose?
So um for this one, this is a great category of films. Love these. Suitable Flesh was great. Cobweb was great. Shout out to, the Outwaters. So much fun with that one.
Yeah,
Ennis Men is kind of artistic and crazy, but I saw the TV Glow. I think was a great limited release. It's kind of like the definition of a limited release. It was like
yeah,
you had to go and catch it before it was out of theaters. Only certain people saw it, so you could only really talk about it with certain people. Like just had the whole vibe. I know a lot of the other ones were more like, they just a lot of them didn't hit theaters around here, so we caught them. Actually, we caught most of these through like screeners ahead of time.
screeners.
So
Yeah.
yeah, but yeah, I saw the TV Glow was one of those we're actually able to get to see in the theater, and yeah, it was a good experience.
Yeah, I would definitely have to agree with you, even though we can't be biased because like most of these people were on our podcast and we
Yeah,
kind of like
no,
talked
I
about
love all
everything.
these films. Yeah,
But I'm gonna definitely go with I saw the TV Glow just because, just having that experience in the theater and watching it. Like we talked about it on our last podcast, with the recap, but just going into that film and then seeing how so many people viewed it in a different way was really cool. You know what I mean? And so
yeah,
it doesn't take anything away. Also, Outwaters, a lot of people viewed that film a different way. You know what I mean?
yeah.
But um,
That's what I'm saying. That one, Skinamarink,
yeah,
there's a few ones that I believe should have like we could create its own category. And I think that would be really cool.
yeah, and I think it's cool. You know what I mean? And it's like having films that are hit or miss. You know what I mean? And then a lot of these films kind of bring up, a conversation of, digging deep on, okay, well, why didn't you like this film?
Yeah,
You know what I mean? Like, and then it's not just because I just thought this film was shitty or this was this. It's, a little more backstory to it. So, yeah, or how films just didn't hit someone a certain way. But I definitely I saw the TV Glow. So,
yeah. If we ask someone why they don't like it, I think it's because they're a bad person.
well, I saw the TV Glow.
Any of them.
Or just
If they
any of
didn't
them?
like them, they're a bad person. That means
Oh
so.
yeah,
That's the
Cobweb
answer.
was great. Cobweb was a great film, you know what I mean? Like a,
Yeah.
a great little twist at the end. You
Suitable
haven't watched
Flesh
that?
just had so much like um just like the people they brought back together to make like this HP Lovecraftian like homage to like Reanimator and yeah, there was just so much with these films. I really enjoyed this category.
Yeah.
Best makeup effects. So we got Abigail, Evil Dead Rise, In a Violent Nature, Talk to Me, and When Evil Lurks. This is the makeup effects people for these films. Brandon, I feel like I already know what your winner is going to be, but go ahead.
You think so?
Yeah,
Think you know me?
I think I actually it's not because I think it's your favorite film, but I think you're picking this one because the makeup was good.
Well, I'm going with When Evil Lurks.
You picked a different one than I thought you were.
Yeah. See, look at that.
You
So
did that just because I said I knew which one.
no, no. Going into it,
Yeah.
I feel as though there was a lot of creepy moments in this film, and I and,
Oh
and
yeah.
what I think about is that gymnasium full of kids with
Okay.
and the makeup that they had on. It
Sure.
was just like like what's going on here? Like
Oh, I
these
kind of
kids.
forgot about that scene. I was thinking of the fat, like
Yeah, the guy.
bloated guy, I should
Yeah,
say. He wasn't
and
really fat.
that too. All of that,
Yeah.
just going into everything. Um, it was a great film. And what did you think I was gonna go with?
I thought you were gonna say Evil Dead Rise, which I don't know
That would have been
why.
good. Yeah,
Because
that
I
would.
mean, there is a lot of good makeup effects in that. Like they really make everybody look really effective.
Yeah,
Um,
I
but
had to
yeah, you're right. There was
I
some
had to
great
go in my
scenes.
bag on this. I had to dig a little deep on that
Yeah.
because I'm like, I think that was, Abigail. I didn't. It was all right. I mean, we've seen vampires before. I've seen
We've seen
vampires.
vampires before. We've seen blood.
We've seen blood. We're actually vampire hunters. If you didn't know, go get that
Yeah.
comic book,
Come
Black
on
Apple
now.
Volume 2. We're vampire
um,
hunters. So,
yeah,
and the
in a
violent.
violent nature is, there's some good kill scenes in there and
Mm.
talk to me. There's some cool stuff. But yeah, I think either one of those, one of the lurks, Evil Dead Rise, good
What you
choices.
going with? What'd you go with?
I went with Evil Dead Rise. I thought that
Okay.
that was in my head. I keep thinking of, just all the makeup, the design of it and everything and how effective it was.
All right.
The bloated guy kind of escaped my mind for a second. I was like, oh, now I'm thinking, oh, like that guy was good.
Yeah.
That was gross.
I watched that movie twice. How many times did you watch it?
One and a half.
All right. Yeah, it was a good movie. I might watch it again.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's
I always say it's one of those ones I'm going to go revisit. And there's always something else to watch, unfortunately.
yeah.
Can't keep up with everything.
All right. So we talked about a lot of scores this year.
Yep.
So this next category is best score, which is Evil Dead Rise, The
Hmm.
First Omen, Godzilla minus one, I Saw the TV Glow, and Infinity Pool. What did you choose?
I saw the TV Glow. The score was by one of my favorite artists, Alex G.
Mm,
So I had to go with that. As soon as I left that theater, I listened to the soundtrack and the score
yeah.
separately, and because it just was to me, it just made the film.
Heavy 90s
Hmm.
vibe. Yeah.
Yep, Alex G is amazing. He also did the soundtrack and score for Jane's previous film.
Mm,
We're all going to the World's Fair.
okay. Yep.
So obviously there's a connection. And yeah, I'm just a huge fan of Alex G. So I had to pick that one.
All right. Not bad, not bad. You can't go wrong with any of these.
No, no,
But
no.
my choice was Godzilla minus one.
Oh,
And another film that I kind of kicked myself for not
yep.
seeing in the theaters.
Same, same.
And so I was able to watch it on Netflix when it came out because I was sitting there looking forever to try to like stream this thing and then you couldn't find it anywhere. And then not only just not being able to see it in theaters, they also released it in other states in a black and white version, and we also
Yeah,
missed that.
yep.
But yeah, I'm definitely going with Godzilla minus one because just the tension and everything that they put into the music and some of those scenes were really cool. And I know a few people kind of share this with us because I think it released around the time Taylor Swift's
Yeah,
movie
yep.
was in there, and I guess like the sound they was like the theaters were side by side. So when some people were watching like the Godzilla film, they could hear
Yeah.
the fucking Taylor Swift music like fucking knocking next door. I'm like, ah man, you gotta move this.
I heard Godzilla when I was watching one of the ones that you shamed me for. You're like, you went to see that instead of that. It must have been imaginary or one of those ones that I saw. Like, I'm
I
trying to
didn't
remember what it
shame
was.
you. I didn't shame you. I didn't shame you because you're a big
Oh, I
Saw
didn't go see
fan.
Saw, and then
You're a
I went.
Saw fan.
Yeah, I
And
went to
then
see the
so
Nun
you
too.
you chose the Nun 2
That's what
over
it was.
Saw. And so I
Yeah,
couldn't wrap my head around that because how you were so like, oh man, I can't wait to see Saw. Did you call the phone number? Did you do this?
yeah, yeah.
You were going so heavy
And
and
then
I'm
I
like,
went to see the Nun too.
and I don't take anything from away from the Nun 2. The Nun 2 was a decent film,
Yeah, yeah.
but like you for Saw, you're up there.
I know.
You know what I
I,
mean? So
I can't. I thought I was gonna go see Saw right after, and that
I
didn't
don't
happen.
shame people on films they
Yeah,
like.
right. Yeah.
Dare you?
Um, best screenplay. So, A lot of the films we already have mentioned are mentioned here again.
Mm.
We got The First Omen, we got Infinity Pool, we got Late Night with the Devil, we got Megan, and we got Talk to Me. So we're looking here for best screenplay,
All
play
right.
of play of screen.
Lay of the screen. So for me, like I said, you just said that a lot of these films were kind of already like thrown in the mix,
Yep,
and then so I had to sit there and dig deep in my bag too, and I'm like, all right, let's look and see. Let's how can we mix this up a little
yep.
bit? And I went Infinity Pool.
Ooh, good one.
So Brandon Cronenberg, like I really enjoyed that film. It was cool.
It's a wild concept.
Yeah, it was. It was fucking crazy. I'm like, oh
Yep.
man, this guy's something like his dad, you know?
Yeah.
Something
And
like his
that
dad.
movie, I don't know, did you experience this when you watched that movie? Was it anything like you thought it was going to be from the preview?
No, it was
Yeah.
I was just like, what the fuck is this? And
Yeah.
that's why
Totally different.
I'm
Yeah.
like, all right, I can get behind this
Yeah.
because that's the thing. It was like one of those films. I didn't see it in the theater either, and then I didn't see it when it first came like out on like VOD or anything like that. It was streaming on Hulu,
Hmm.
and I was just like, I think I was sick. I was like, let me throw this on because that was the thing. I watched this film and Bo was Afraid
Oh, okay. Yep.
back to
Yep.
back.
Yep.
And so I was just like, hold on, wait a minute. Why didn't I go see these films in the theater? But yes,
There just
Infinity
wasn't enough
Pool.
talk at the time about him, to be honest.
Yeah.
Um, I chose Late Night with the Devil for a
Mm-hmm.
very specific reason, which I've mentioned on here when we talked about Late Night with the Devil. I
Mm-hmm.
love the way the story is set. And it almost is like it's three different stories. I know I'm not going to rehash that whole thought I had about that, but I just like it because it's like it plays out in scenes almost. And I thought it was just really well written. I like the way that the very beginning ties into the very, very end. And like you almost forget about the beginning until
Mm-hmm.
the very end when it all kind of like, oh, I get what's going on now. I just thought that was written really well,
Yeah.
and I enjoyed that story quite a bit. So yeah, great again, great films in this category. Great films in all of these categories. So
Oh yeah, definitely. And the next category we have is best streaming premiere. So yeah, if you
yeah.
haven't checked any of these films out, they're still streaming, so definitely go and check them out. So the first film is No One Will Save You. Sick, Totally Killer, VHS 85, and Where the Devil Roams. What was your choice for best streaming premiere?
This I had such a hard time between two of these films.
Yep.
So ultimately I did choose No One Will Save You.
Yep.
I literally love this movie. I reconnected me with how much I love alien invasion films
Yeah.
and like how like I think that's terrifying. You don't know how to fight them because you don't know what they are. But I really loved Where the Devil Roams, and I love the Addams Family so much. So that one was like a really close one for me. Sick was enjoyable. I really did like Sick.
Yeah.
VHS 85 was good, but not my favorite of the VHS series.
Yeah.
And Totally Killer, it was a good film, just wasn't for me. So Normal Save You was my pick.
All right. But yeah, I definitely agree with you on all these. But I also went with No One Will Save You because just, you know, like just that episode that we had when we kind of talked about on the recap and kind of had gone like dug deep into it and kind of like went over everything and just how a film just had no dialogue for the first
Yeah,
few for the most of the film and it
it
was
was
just
most of the film.
yeah,
Yeah,
most of
I
the film
if
and it
not the entire film, there might have been like a couple of lines,
and
but
it
it was
locked
never boring.
and it locked you in.
Yeah,
I'm
never
like
boring.
I'm
Yeah,
like, okay, that's definitely different, and it was cool. But I feel as though that I set as a streaming premiere out of nowhere. I think Sick would have been more heavy if it played out a little bit better than it was because it was just in time. Like, you know what I mean? Just being in
oh yeah,
lockdown, going through
yep,
that whole time. But and then just having, just everyone on board on that project coming back. So it was just Kevin Williamson coming back from doing like Scream and stuff like
yeah.
that. So, um, Totally Killer just didn't hit right for me. It wasn't fine. It was fine,
Yeah.
but I feel as
There's a ton of
though
people that love that film too, so it's fine on its
it was
own. Like,
fun. It was
yeah,
kind of just like Happy Death Day, you know what I mean?
yeah,
But in a
yeah,
different way. But it
yeah,
was like we've seen this type of shit before. And like you said, The Addams Family, Where the Devil Roams, that's a great film, you know what I mean? Um, but I feel as though it depends on who you have. Like, so you look at the premieres, it's like No One Will Save You was Hulu, Sick
yeah,
was
yeah.
Peacock, Totally Killer was
Amazon,
Amazon Prime,
Amazon, yeah,
VHS was on Shutter, and Where the
yeah.
Devil
Where
Roams was
that's true. I
Tubi.
didn't. Yeah, I forgot that they were all on different ones. And VHS. The other thing with that one is when I first watched it, I was like, oh, I know that it wasn't a lot of people's favorite, but like I was like, oh,
Yeah.
I enjoyed a good amount of these segments. And then there was that controversy over that first segment, and that kind
Oh
of
yeah.
lost me a little bit more after that. And I was like,
Yeah.
eh. So that kind of sucked, just having that kind of like looming over that release. So
hmm
yeah, that was another aspect to it that kind of
But
like did it for
at the
me.
end of the day, I think it's cool that, the VHS and Shutter are giving, more people up
Oh
and
yeah.
coming chances to kind of like just submit, something into like horror greatness because the VHS franchise is definitely going in. And so the next one's already been announced. So
Yes. Yep. Yep. So will be exciting. That'll be an exciting release right there. Um, but yeah, all right. So no one will save you.
no
Both
one
of
will
them.
save you.
Unanimous. All right. Best supporting performance. This is a good one. We got Dave Bautista in Knock at the Cabin, Joe Bird in Talk to Me, Nicolas Cage in Renfield, Mia Goth in Infinity Pool, Catherine Newton in Abigail, and Bridget Lundy Payne in I Saw the TV Glow. Oh,
Mm.
wait, I'm not done actually. Sorry. He goes on to another page. Dwayne Perkins in The Blackening, Dan Stevens in Abigail, Alyssa Sutherland in Evil Dead Rise, and Alicia Ware in Abigail. This is a tough category.
It is. It's really tough. But
You sons of bitches for putting
but
us in this position.
at the end of the day, man, there can only be one.
Okay, what do you got?
I'm going with Bridget from I Saw the TV Glow.
Okay.
I'm going with Bridget.
I'm
And so
glad I
like
didn't try to guess who you were going to pick.
why, who would you think I was gonna go with?
The same one I did.
Dave Bautista because you like WWE. I
He
wasn't
was
I didn't
actually awesome in
no,
Knock
he
at the
was.
Cabin. I loved him in that movie.
I didn't watch wrestling when he was in there, so I never seen like him.
He
I've seen clips and everything like that, but I wasn't like locked in.
Yeah, yeah. He is like turning into one of my favorite actors. And I'm
Oh
not like
yeah.
a wrestling fan.
hmm
Like I don't know him from that, but like just knowing he is a wrestler and then watching him in these roles, I'm like, this guy is talented and he's kind of funny.
Yeah.
What was that movie? The was it Glass Onion, the
Mm.
Knives Out one?
Yep.
I thought he was great in that. He's just sometimes he can be funny, sometimes he be like in this one he was very serious.
Yeah.
He did great. That wasn't my pick, but I just wanted to rave about Dave Bautista a little bit
Dave
because
Bautista.
I think he's cool. I like him.
Oh no, it is cool.
So yeah, Bridget Lundy Payne, you picked.
Yeah, because I think that, and I saw the TV Glow, her performance and everything like that, and just also she was in Abigail's Children, so seeing her cross over and then going into that film because that was another film that we talked about when we were able to screen and kind of like talk about, and so I seen her transition into I saw the TV Glow. You see her grow more, and so I was just like, all right, well, some of the scenes when like she's just explaining like how the TV, how the show is just,
Yeah, yeah,
so it just,
yep,
she goes deep. And so I don't want to like ruin anything for anybody that hasn't seen it, but she definitely gives a great performance in this film.
yeah. So I picked Alyssa Sutherland.
Mm,
She was amazing in Evil Dead Rise. She
yeah.
totally stole the show. I thought her character was hilarious,
Mm,
creepy, everything you could ask for. Her social media was amazing around the time of the film, still kind of is. She just like you could tell she was having so much fun playing that character,
mm.
and I just thought she did such a great job. So that was my pick.
That's a great pick.
I thought that she was great, but like also, Abigail, Dan Stevens and Abigail was pretty like great. Um, yeah, I don't know. There's a few others you could have gone with for this one, but like, yeah, I felt pretty good about our
Yeah.
picks.
Yeah. There you go.
All right.
Next category, we have best television series. So Chucky, he's been around for a few seasons now.
Yeah,
So
they're hoping he gets renewed. I know that that's the big thing, renew Chucky.
I think he
Because
probably will. Because it's keeping people locked in. People enjoy
yeah,
it. I
yeah.
still haven't locked in on it, but I've seen just some of the first season. I didn't
Mhm.
finish it all, but Chucky, and we have the fall of Usher, the fall of the House of Usher, not
Yep.
fall
That
of
was that
Usher.
was a that was a big hit this year. Everyone loved
Yeah,
that.
Interview with the Vampire.
No, sir. I
I heard that's
watched
pretty good.
I know people that love it. I watched like 10 minutes of the beginning and just
You can't give it 10 minutes.
I know I gotta go back.
See, see, you over here talking about me, and
I'm
then like
not
if I,
downing it. I'm not downing it. I'm just saying I gave it 10 minutes and it didn't catch me, so
all right, no,
gotta
I
go back.
understand. And then we got The Last of Us and Yellow Jackets.
Which I don't get Showtime, so I'm screwed.
No, no Yellow Jackets for you, huh?
Nope. And all I hear is how great Yellow Jackets is. So,
Oh, yeah, it's great.
well,
So, who'd you pick?
The Last of Us.
Yeah, The Last of Us. You can't go
Freaking love
wrong.
that show. Yeah.
But see, and you're not even a gamer, and you love it.
No, no, nope.
Well,
And
you
I
are a
thought
gamer,
about
but you're not a. You
I'm
don't play
like
too
I
much.
might be retired. I don't know
Okay.
yet. Like hopefully I can go back to it, but it's been a while. Last of Us is it's it's what we loved about The Walking Dead
Mm-hmm.
mixed with just like newer influences, I guess. Plus, like, yeah, it's got the gaming storyline and all that stuff. Like, there's just so much to it that keeps us hooked.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty great.
Yeah. Last of Us. For me, I remember like the first day that game came out. It was the top game that you had to get for PS3.
Yep.
So let's just put it this way: when that game released, my PS3 died a
There you
week
go.
before.
Oh
I went
boy.
out and bought another PS3 just to play that game.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so even though like that, because which sucked too, because that game came out on the last wave of PS3 games before PS4 was coming out. So I had purchased a PS3 again, knowing that in 2 or 3 months that the PS4 was coming out,
Mm-hmm.
and I never regretted that decision ever. Never
The
regretted
true
it at
love
all.
story right there.
Never at all.
I'd never turn back.
So I just can't wait for season two, because
I
season
know.
two, part two of that game is just even more, it's just crazy. And it's like the story driven game. And it's the same way. I feel as though that, from what we got from the TV show, if you were to go back and play the game, you would be like, wow, like this is crazy how
Mm-hmm.
much, Naughty
They
Dog
thought.
put into that game. And it was
Yeah.
just like certain things that were just missing. And I loved how in one of the episodes where, when the guy was with his boyfriend, that whole breakdown of everything where they go into it, they dug deeper into that
Yes.
story than what it
Yep.
was, because it was kind of like based off of a comment that was made that kind of gave you that feeling that, oh, there's something there, but they never dug deep into the game because that guy didn't play that big of a role.
It's
So
crazy too because they do the whole lifespan of those two characters
yeah,
in one episode. And it was like it's one of those things where sometimes, I can't help but compare it at times to Walking Dead. But sometimes in Walking Dead, they would do a whole episode on following one character and you wouldn't see what the whereabouts of the rest of the others. And a
yeah,
lot of times when they would do that, I would like sit there and be like, ah, but I want to know what's going on with like Rick or,
hmm,
somebody else. That episode just had you locked
yeah,
because you're like, what are they trying to tell me? Why am I seeing this? And then at the very end, it connects back to the main story,
yeah,
and you're like, oh, that was interesting. And I know a lot of people thought it was divisive. They were trying to like send a message. I don't think so. I think that this is just creative filmmaking. They're trying to tell a story in a different type of way than other things. They're not going to make a whole spin-off on these two characters.
And
They're
that's the
not,
thing.
they're not shoving this down our throats either. That almost 2 years waiting for the next season, that's building anticipation. That's not making us exhausted, right?
Yeah, and that's the thing. You have not played the game. So it's like I'm sitting here knowing how everything unfolds, but it's just like, how are they going to do it?
Yeah.
How are they going to do it? Because it's just a crazy twist. There's just, like I said, Naughty Dog is very creative. They've done the Uncharted games, and those games are amazing too. So if you get it back into gaming, you should play Uncharted and you should play The
Yeah.
Last of Us because
Yeah.
if and I'm just happy The Last of Us end up landed on HBO because on HBO Max because I feel as though when they go into like doing the show, they don't half-ass anything. They're not
Right.
gonna sit there and they're gonna just sit there and go in on it because they have a lot of classic TV shows under their belt. So, Last of
Yeah.
Us
Last
all
of
day.
Us. All right. Speaking of video games, that brings
Mm.
us to this category, which I already had said I was going to let you kind of speak on because
Yep.
I think you've dabbled in a few of these games. So you
Hmm.
got best video game category, Alan Wake 2.
Yep.
What the frig? All right.
Yes.
Dead Space remake, Killer
Yep.
Clowns from Outer Space, the game, Resident Evil 4 remake, and the Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
All right.
All right. Speak on
So,
it.
so these are a lot of great choices right here. So, if everybody, have you ever played Alan Wake at all?
I
First one.
never even heard of this.
All right. So,
What is this for?
Alan Wake released on Xbox 360. And it was a great horror game. So I'm actually in the middle of it. I'm playing the remake of the first one. Um, it was great. You really didn't have any, weapons or anything. You had like a flashlight, and you kind of go along with all the demons and everything. You kind of go back. It's about a writer that's kind of like trying to find like space to kind of get some inspiration and stuff like that. He's on a
Okay.
trip with his wife, and then things just become crazy and weird. So Alan Wake 2. That is one fucking crazy game.
Hmm.
One
I'll have
fucking
to,
crazy
yeah, I'm gonna have
game.
to look into that. Never heard of it.
Yeah, they have it on I think they have it on PS4. So PS4 and PS5. It's one fucking crazy game. So I think that might win.
Oh,
It might
so
win.
that beats Texas Chainsaw Massacre, which I know you're a fan of.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Did you play the?
I didn't make my choice yet.
Oh, okay. All right. I thought you were saying Alan Wake. Go ahead.
No, no, no. I'm saying that Alan Wake
You think it's
2
might win
might
from
win
other? All right, got it.
from everybody else just because it's like the story driven and Alan Wake has a big, following from the original. And Dead Space remake, classic game, you know what I mean? And Killer Clowns from Outer Space, which just kind of released last month. It's a fun ride.
Did you play it?
I have not played it yet.
Okay. All right. I wasn't sure because I
I
feel
just
like you
haven't
would
had the
have.
time. I haven't
Yeah,
had the
yeah.
time
Well,
to
that's a
sit there
very
and do.
recent. That's another thing. Like some of
Yeah,
these things are very recent, so you're
yeah.
not
So
gonna get all the time to
from seeing
dig
everybody's
in.
experience and everything playing,
It looks wild.
pretty sure my son played it.
Yeah.
I think he plays it with his friends and stuff, but it's a different take on, like the Jason games and the Texas Chainsaw Massacre game. They're all fun. So, Resident Evil 4 remake, you know, a lot of fans of that series. A lot of people would say that Resident Evil 4 is the best Resident Evil ever. I have to disagree. I have to disagree, just because off of me growing up, I've always been a fan of the Resident Evil franchise. And when Resident Evil 4 came out, it was exclusive to GameCube, Nintendo. And then so I never understood why it went to a Nintendo system because like all those games, Resident Evil were just Sony
Yeah.
games. So I was kind of a little upset, I mean, I'm like, fuck that game,
Protested it.
fuck that
Yeah.
game. And then it came out on the Wii, and
Yeah.
I'm like, what is going on here? Like, why can't I get this on like PlayStation? And it was like years later, it finally came out on PlayStation. But yeah, a lot of people think that's the best one, and I don't disagree with anyone. But going back and playing the remake, I can see why a lot of people love the game. But for me, it's still part one or part two, and I've been going back and playing all of them.
Hmm.
And we have Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I think that definitely, Gun Media did a great job with this game. Um, I'm going with Texas Chainsaw Massacre because I had a great time playing this game.
Yeah.
And shout out to everybody in Good Media. Robbie Hobbs, they take care of us over there. You know what I
So
mean?
this was the only game that I played in this category,
Yeah.
and I enjoyed it. I just wasn't. I never got into it enough to be able to get good at it.
Mm.
So, but it's like really well done. You got all your characters that you'd want to see. I got to, I was playing as Leatherface like right away. Um, yeah, it's cool. It's cool
Yeah.
as hell. So
So if you're a fan of the Friday the 13th game, you're gonna love Texas Chainsaw Massacre if you haven't played it. And you'll love Killer Clowns from Outer Space because it's like they're all that same game where it's interactive. That's why I was saying like Alan Wake 2, I don't know, like I think overall the visuals and everything else, like it's heavy story driven. But now today's type of games, it's what can you play with your friends online?
yeah,
So
yeah,
you know what I mean?
gotcha. Hmm.
So I can see a lot of people just picking Texas Chainsaw Massacre just off of the name and just off the fun that you have. And you can bring, play with your friends. You can be Leatherface, you can be, the feed the grandpa, be the hitchhiker. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Just
yeah,
just all the things that you love. And so
exactly.
and it's done well. So I'm going with Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I'm sorry if
Okay,
I pissed a lot of people off that I'm not going Alan Wake 2. Like I said, it may win, but Texas Chainsaw Massacre, it's out of those two. I
okay,
think Killer Clowns from Outer Space was a little bit too early. A lot of people haven't been able to play it yet.
yeah. All right. Well, that brings us to our second to last category.
Mm.
We have the best wide release movie. So the films in this one are Night Swim, Imaginary. No, I'm just messing. All right, so we got Abigail, Evil Dead Rise, The First Omen, Godzilla Minus One, Infinity Pool, Late Night with the Devil, Megan, Satanic Hispanics, Talk to Me, and When Evil Lurks. This is a very large category, obviously.
Yeah.
Tons to choose from.
But
What do you
why
got?
isn't Night Swim in this category
Yeah. Hey,
or
wait a
imaginary?
minute. I
What do you mean?
demand. Awesome to see a few like satanic Hispanics get brought into here. So shout out to all
Yeah.
the filmmakers that were part of that one.
Mm.
Um, you know, a lot of these we'd already talked about earlier, so it was nice seeing something different, new included in this category. I'm gonna make a prediction. I know what Brandon's gonna choose.
Go ahead.
You picked Talk to Me.
Hmm.
And that's the face of a man who knows that I know what he picked.
I think you're wrong.
What else would you have picked? No, you
I
picked.
went with
Wait, no, you did
Evil
not.
Dead Rise.
No, you did not. No, you did not.
I did.
You did not. Prove it. Show me your vote.
I went best wide release. It's not about
Guy,
is
are
this
you
my
serious?
choice of
How
it's
do
wide
I
release.
even know you? Do I
Best
even
wide
know you?
release. So break this down. Best wide release. This is a theater experience, right?
Yeah.
And
I didn't
and
pick Talk to Me. I think you picked Talk to Me.
I didn't pick Talk to Me.
All right.
It was Talk to Me was a great movie, but
Yeah.
I think that Evil Dead Rise, you put in the box office numbers and everything else like that. They both did great. But then it's like, we've seen we've been waiting for another Evil Dead movie since the
Did
remake.
you know I was gonna try to predict your predictions,
No,
your picks?
nah.
I feel like you purposely chose differently than what you
There-
normally would.
Look at this list.
I
Look at
still
this
feel
list.
like, all right, well,
Best wide release.
I picked
Okay.
the
So
first Omen. That was wide released.
okay, yeah. So that those are
Why didn't you pick the
two
first Omen then?
because I didn't.
Okay.
Because I went to the theater. We went to the theater and it wasn't like crazy packed and it wasn't crazy a lot of
Uh,
people going out to see it. I
so
think people were
you
going
put a
out to
different
go
thought
Evil Dead
process.
Rise. All right, so Abigail, that was oh no, right. That was a good top release. Godzilla, a lot of people we missed it in theater.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So my experience for that was a little different. I didn't see Infinity Pool in the theater. And I didn't see Late Night in the Devil with the Devil in the
But
theater,
a
which
wide, it
is
doesn't
warm.
say theater release. This is wide release.
Yeah, wide release, wide release. Explain that. So
Could be
evil.
streaming because I think Satanic Hispanics could be wrong. Believe it premiered on Shutter, but that could be maybe it might have made select theaters. So I
Yeah,
apologize
but
if I'm wrong about that.
but Abigail just got onto Peacock.
Yeah, I think so.
It's not. It's coming on. It's not. I
Oh,
don't even think it's on Peacock
Megan had
yet.
a pretty good, big wide release.
I don't think it was better
Had a
than Evil Dead Rises though.
had a big wide release.
And anticipation for people to go see Evil Dead was bigger than most of these films. Like
You're right. You're right, Brandon.
when Evil Lurks, we missed it. It was in the theater for 1 week.
That was a very small release.
See, that's what I'm saying. Like, so break this category down. Best wide release. Is it off of what I think that is like the best movie? Like no, it's about
Some
wide
would say
release.
yes. Some would say no.
Best wide release.
Okay.
I'm sitting there thinking
But
about
it's the best
numbers.
of the wide release.
I
I
would,
think that the fact that it's in this category makes it a wide release, right?
but when Evil Lurks didn't have a wide release. See,
Yes, I can't
Hispanic Hispanic
explain why they
didn't
chose
have that
these
in there.
films. I guess you're right about this, but like I didn't pick the films that are in the category.
I couldn't
I just
tell
picked the
you.
best of the films that
And
are
then
in the
also when
category.
I seen Talk to Me, I seen Talk to Me exclusively at a Fangoria event. So I wasn't in the theater like the night it came out or the week it came out.
Humble brag.
So sorry. I'm so sorry. No, but for real. Like so yeah, the theater was packed on that and so the
Yeah,
experience was a little different for me. So that's why I didn't go with Talk to Me. But I
Brandon.
remember we went to go see Evil Dead Rise. Evil Dead Rise was a great wide release because
I loved Evil Dead Rise.
Evil Dead
I'm
Rise, you
not.
know why? Evil Dead Rise was one of like the second movies that, me and you went to the theater
Yeah.
together to see. Because I think
All
what
right.
we went to go see Scream. We seen the
Yep.
Screams.
Scream, Evil Dead Rise. Yeah, we saw the last two Screams
So
at the
and we got
theater.
together, we went to have a
Yep.
few drinks,
Yep.
had some food.
Yep.
We went to go see Evil Dead Rise. And so,
That's right. That's right. We
so
did. That was a good
yeah,
experience. Yeah.
it was. So
Brandon, I hope
wide
that
release.
everybody who voted put this much thought into the name of the category.
You should. Because it's not
You
just
can't
based
just
off of your favorite movie.
yeah, you can't just vote on these films willy-nilly, everyone.
Yeah,
Come
you
on.
can't just do that. You gotta
You want
go
Brandon
into
knocking on your door saying you want to rethink that vote?
you wanna think
Oh,
sure about that?
oh, you picked Talk to Me? You think that was a wide release? When Evil Lurks? I didn't see that in the theater.
It was a week. Talk to Me was a
It was
wide
a
release.
week.
It was a wide release. It did well. They did
Yeah.
numbers. They did numbers, but I'm sorry, I didn't have that experience in the regular theater when it first came out.
Oh, okay. All right. I will I'll stop giving you shit. Good
Nah.
choices. No matter what, you can't lose in any of these categories. They're all great films. Um, so we got best kill.
Ah, shit.
So now we have to pretend like we thought about every single kill that we saw this past year.
Yep.
And we were like, that's the one.
That
Even
is
though,
it.
like we both said, I think when you're put on the spot, it's like so hard to freaking think of anything.
Yeah, it's really hard.
Did you
So
put something down?
it was hard because I was sitting there and I'm in the moment. Like, you know what I mean? When I did that choice, like I
Yeah.
was busy doing the ballot. Like, you know what I mean? I was busy and
You were still
sorry.
trying to think of what a wide release was. And then you get hit with best kill. You're like, damn, I'm exhausted. I need a nap.
I
I got to
had
think
to.
about these numbers.
No, see, I had a death in the family, so I was sitting there and I'm like, damn, I'm on the clock. I need to sit
Yeah.
there and pump in a choice, and I was clouded, and so I can't even really even think of a top kill because it wasn't set up to give me a choice.
So you want me to share mine?
Yes.
All right. Again, this is because I just quickly was like, I was doing it right before bed. I was like, oh shit, I got to hurry up and do this before I forget the next day. And then all of a sudden it's closed. So I was right before bed. And all I did was like, what was probably the most shocking thing that I saw this past year? Like what kill do I remember saying like, oh my God, I can't believe I just saw that. And the first thing that came to my mind was when the dog bites the little girl in When Evil Lurks
Mm,
and like that whole dog scene because that literally was so shocking to me because I don't think I've ever seen something so freaking graphic and like just out of pocket and like was unexpected. I mean, there's tons of scenes from that movie that are crazy, but that scene right there like devastated me because I can't stand when I think something bad's gonna happen to an animal in a film, and
mm.
then just seeing that, I'm like, oh my god, that was crazy! I can't believe I just saw that. So that was
Yeah.
mine, the dog scene.
and I agree with you on that. But at the end of the day, no spoiler alerts, the girl didn't die.
I knew there was going to be some kind of catch.
Yeah.
The
So
dog
that's
dies, right? Does it?
yeah,
Do
they
they?
shot him.
Yeah. So I mean, I guess the whole scene as a whole, the dog scene.
Yeah, definitely. But I agree with you because I remember complaining about, watching a black phone and watching all these other movies. Like, why didn't they kill any of the kids?
Yeah,
Then when I seen Evil Lurks, I'm like, okay, yeah.
they didn't give a shit, and
I'm
that's
like,
why you don't see it that often.
and I was because I was like so thrown off when I actually seen it when they gave me what I wanted, and I'm like,
Yep.
hold on, wait a minute. Do I really
I
want to see
changed.
that?
I changed my mind. I changed my mind. Yeah, that was crazy.
All right. So I'm sitting here. I just pulled up a list, right?
Yep.
So some of the best kills. So this is really based off of like 2023 / 2024, really, if we really look at it,
Yeah.
right?
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
So they have Thanksgiving, dinner is served. I
Yep.
think that was a
Some good
good
kills in
kill.
there. Hmm.
Scream 6, Don't Look Down. So
Yeah, that was a good kill.
that was the
Yep.
latter scene, but so I think it's like the same situation with like how you view that film because I had actually gone back and watched Scream 6 in 3D, and that plays a whole different game with you because it's like the
3D. That
3D
real
fucks with you a
3D.
little bit
Yeah. Yeah.
more. Evil Dead, Don't Lose Your Head, The Fall of House of Usher, The Raining Acid, Saw, a real head scratcher. Cobweb, Kids Will Be Kids, Suitable Flesh, Back to Back, Back It Up, and When Evil Lurks, You Know the One. So those are some of the top kills that were
Yeah.
from that. And so I
I mean,
think,
Saw definitely had some good ones too. Yeah.
yeah. And so I looked it up too. And I just clicked on it. Like Dread Central has a picture of the little girl and the dog from When Evil
Oh,
Lurks.
all right.
So
So I might not be alone with that vote. All right.
no, you're not alone. You're not alone. I think it's there. Um, I might go with let's see. This is hard. I'm gonna go with Evil Dead Rise. Don't lose your head.
Okay.
There you go. It's
And there it
hard.
is.
It's a hard situation because when you really go back at it and then it's like honestly, like let me really go through back through the whole year and think about the top production kills. It's hard when you're on
The
the
good
spot.
news is, at the end of the day, we're all winners.
See? This is why. This is why it's a open vote choice because they couldn't even put together
Yeah.
top kills. They couldn't even do it.
I'm sure somewhere someone's putting something so obscure and they're like, "Oh my god, we didn't even think of that." You
Yeah.
know what I mean? So I think that's the cool idea. I hate it personally because I'm like I can't think of anything, but
Yeah.
also I'm sure they're getting some really creative thoughts. So
Hmm.
yeah, all right. Well, that wraps up Fangoria 2024 Chainsaw Award ballot, and that was a lot.
Was a
We
lot.
got we got through it. That is going to make for a very interesting night. I'm proud of myself for getting
Proud.
through that.
Good
I'm
job.
no, I'm joking, but I'm proud of myself for actually like having watched majority of the
Most of
films
the
this
films.
year because I told you before we wrap, like before we get on here, that like that 2 years ago or whatever that was when that guy wrote something like, "Wow, for a horror podcast, you haven't watched most of the films or something like that." I was like, "Damn it, he's right. I did not see most of those films that time."
I
So
think
I was
that
like determined.
I think that comment like replays in your head. It's like a
It
nightmare
does.
for you.
It does. I can't wait till next Fangoria Chainsaw Award. I'll see all of them because
Yeah.
I'm keeping up with shit this year. So
So it wasn't bad. We've seen a lot of the films, but the last time some of those films we when that guy said that, we've seen a lot of the films that nobody had seen though. You know what I mean?
oh, I
So
know that's always the balance for us is like we get so many of those indie films,
mhm.
then sometimes we miss the blockbusters. So it's like trying to like make sure we stay on top of it so that we can know our stuff. The thing we pride ourselves on the most of, we have to like know. So yeah,
But
that's
it's
it.
good. We thank you, whoever left that comment, because you motivate us and you make us stronger and you
See,
can't stop us.
that's right. You need a little bit of hate every now and then in order to progress. So that
Hmm.
guy did us a huge favor, and I don't even know his name.
I don't even know you, buddy. You know me,
Well, he
and you
probably does know us. He's like some dude that
trolling.
trolls us. Yeah. All right.
Ah, shit.
Well,
Also,
everyone, yeah,
hold
go ahead,
on.
Brandon. Yeah.
Since we're doing Fangoria, if you use the code PVD Horror at your checkout on any item from Fangoria shop, so you can get a subscription for the magazine. You can buy one magazine, or you can buy a full year subscription. Save 20% by using the code PVD Horror. So a lot of followers have been using it, and they've been telling us they've been saving a lot of money.
Yeah.
They were like, "Wow, we didn't even know that you guys were affiliated with Fangoria." We
20%.
are.
That's no bullshit.
We are. So use the code save. Who doesn't like saving money? Dave loves saving money.
Um, cheap as shit. So I love saving money. And also it's very cool that when you are a subscriber, you will sometimes get dibs on like subscriber perks and stuff like that, or
Mm,
like they'll offer it to subscribers first, which is awesome. And I especially love the fact that they're re-releasing old issues. So sometimes you can get back issues on there because
yep.
that's one of my favorite things to do is find like old back issues. So
Yeah. And old posters that
yep.
were kind of put in the vault. And that's also not it. There's more. When you're a subscriber, you get an alternate cover. So you don't get the same cover that's released in the store. You get a different one. So right now, we have the cover of Longlegs.
Yes.
And so if you buy it from the store, you get the cover of Maxine.
Yep.
You can't go wrong with
Um,
either one.
this was an older issue,
Yeah.
but this was a subscriber specific one with Chucky on it.
Yep.
And I think the one that you would get in the store was Abigail.
Yeah.
So upgrade.
Yeah. You can't go wrong. Can't
No,
go wrong with either one. But if you want the regular one too, you can also put in code word PVD horror and save 20% on just that one magazine
you get
and
both.
have both.
There you go. So definitely a good deal. Hope you guys take advantage of it.
Yep.
Take advantage of us. Just
Use
kidding.
me.
All right, everybody. Please, when you check out this episode, share your thoughts on the categories. We do this basically because we want to hear what you all think of these movies as well. Would love to be able to compare and contrast our picks to your picks. So make sure you comment and leave us some feedback of what you think. And definitely let us know your thoughts on Best Kill.
And leave us some hate mail too.
Leave Brandon some hate, man.
No, Dave,
Not me. I
leave.
had enough. That one sent me over the edge.
Ah,
I'm still
shit.
losing sleep.
No.
All right, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in. We will see you next week. Have a great night.
Take it easy.